And just to remind everybody, I do have streams on Wednesdays, which are math oriented. So they will have the actual tag math on them. One of my regulars, Soul Reaver 09, is also a Twitch streamer who does math a lot. He does a lot of sort of like calc level. He's trying to teach himself calculus, and he's doing pretty well. I am a full-time math professor at a 2-year college, and I just popped on to figure out if anybody actually did like math streaming one day because I figured why not? I'll do it. Um, and his was the first one that I stumbled on, so I was like, all right, let's check it out. Um, yeah, he can answer a lot of questions and very well, as far as I can tell, for like under calc and below. He does all right with calc itself and can figure out stuff pretty quickly. So I got to give him a plug there. And I am. I've been working on a few projects as far as trying to get my different ideas about how to teach math kind of out there, and so I've been popping that into my N Simplex Pachinko YouTube channel, and I'm going to try to get more content up that is class specific. So it's going to be like stuff for algebra, stuff for calc, stuff for um, differential equations. Those are the 3 classes that pretty much I've taught forever. Yeah, here we go. First playthrough. Blindfolded. No, I don't want to do blindfolded. Um, hmm. Let's not backseat for now, but I may ask for some random hints if anybody does know them and I'm actually stuck. That probably won't happen, but we'll see. Okay. So we need to update the information. Okay. I think this is good. We'll see how it goes. If anybody does need to head out, I will see you around. If anybody is sticking around, you're more than welcome to. Here we go. Um, yeah, we're not doing expansions right now. Y'all are gonna hate me for this, but sure, why not? Why would that be an option? That's awful. Hmm. Okay, so I don't have any idea what any of this is going to do for now. So, oh man, one hit kills and immortality. All right, let's see. Controls: jump and levitate. That seems pretty easy. Click stick to sprint. Aim, multi-launch, left trigger, melee, Y. Okay. Shield left button. Okay. Launch right button. If 8B, toggle crouch grand slam. Yeah, okay. Toggle walk. doing this blind, I have no idea. Let's mute some copyrighted music. Let's turn on the subtitles for now. Interesting. Sign translation overlay. Alright. Let's see how I do. Brightness. Probably need to turn that up just a little bit. Start. Purdy. And being a math guy, I can definitely appreciate fractals. Coding that must have been insane. I mean, maybe not. Might have been easy, but...
Fair warning. This is gonna be weirder than usual. Can't be helped. You called me. So here I am. I know I shut you out sometimes. I'm always glad to hear from you. It's just that I get my hopes up. So many times it's led to nothing. I found nothing. It's like we live in a room and there's a poster on the wall. We stare at it and we think that's the whole world. The room and the poster. The picture's something nice. A landscape, a famous person. Like in that movie, what is it called? The prison movie. The room's a cell, and the picture, it's different for each of us. It can be beautiful or terrible, but we're all transfixed. But it's all a lie. Something to distract us from the truth. They're lying to us. We're lying to ourselves. The room's not the world. The world is much bigger and much stranger. There's a hole hidden behind that poster that leads to the real world. We all feel safe in that room. But sometimes something crawls out from behind the poster. And the ones that see it happen freak out and try to forget what they saw. I'm here. Why did you bring me here? Hello?
Alright, I'm just
Anyone
looking through
here?
IMDb here to try to figure out if I know anybody. And it doesn't look like I do. Hideo Kojima is in it. So if we see Dr. Yoshimi Tokui, that's a name that a lot of people know. Courtney Hope is playing Jessie here. Was on soap operas, Bold and the Beautiful, and been doing a bunch of voice acting since. But I don't really know who she is. Alright, so hold stuff. Prohibited items reminder. Collectibles. Reminder, certain objects are not allowed inside the Bureau. Recent incidents have necessitated an issued reminder on prohibited materials, unauthorized weapons, pagers, laptops, smartwatches, phones, gaming devices, anything smart for that matter. Number 2, pencils. Okay. Any objects considered iconic representations of an archetypal concept, i.e. rubber ducks, ketchup bottles, I see. All material under Bureau investigation is to be brought in through private entrances. If you see any lobby personnel in breach of these policies, please notify your supervisor immediately. Federal Bureau of Control of the United States of America. I cannot read the Latin underneath, but I'm sure we'll see it at some point. So apparently brands are an issue at the moment. Internal lockdown in effect. Multiple containment breaches detected. Multiple building shifts detected. Head of Research Override, HBA protocol activated, HRA. Building lockdown in effect. Okay. This is fine.
This seal. I saw it a long time ago. I keep seeing it in my dreams.
Bureau expenditures. Expenditure summary, Executive Sector Q2, Major, Staffing Surveillance, redacted. Data Center Initiative, Construction, redacted, Minor. Office Equipment Janitorial Costs, redacted. Mold removal, HQ Livability Costs for cost breakdown sheet. See page 5 for 5-year comparison chart, see page 9. FBC Accounting Department by order of Zechariah Trench. I think that is the guy who shot himself in the opening credits. Not credits. Opening sequence. Okay. Tutorial. Woohoo. Nothing here.
Federal Bureau of Control. All these years I've been looking for them, and they were hiding in plain sight.
Delays caused by house shifts do not count towards overtime. Acoustic guitar for sale. Turns out it's pretty hard. If interested, see Greg in maintenance, $50. Food left in refrigerator in containment break room 3B has been known to vanish. Plan accordingly. Remember to wash your hands to prevent the spread of the mold. Be sure to wash hands carefully with soap. Make sure to fingers. Yeah. Let's say hi and welcome to some new people in the oldest house. First aid trained. Don't bring dogs to the office. Some of us have allergies. Book club, socks and ballerinas. Always recycle. Right, so that's jumping. Okay, yep, camera side. Alright, can't get in through that way. There should be a door. It's on the other side. Alright, fine. Fair enough. Seek shelter. Security order. Sensitivity might be a little strong on the right stick. R4 reports reminder. Hear a person.
Hello? Hey, excuse me.
There you are. You are here about the job. Janitor's assistant. You need to go to the interview. Go that way to the elevator.
Thanks. Elevator that way. Got it.
Very good. I'm Ahti, the janitor, by the way. You'll work for me. You can say I sent you. If they don't hire you, then you are no relevant. There be work for the axe. Take them behind the sauna, jumalauta.
I've done enough night shift loner jobs to know it makes us come off weird. Ahti the janitor is a friendly face in my book.
Better than somebody with no face at all. Think about it. No face.
But that said, I know what you're thinking. If there's an axe murderer around, that's him.
This is Martti Suosalo, who's a Finnish actor. Don't know anything he's been in either. This is really fascinating for me, just, you know, play a game that I had no idea what it was. And it's,
The cell and the poster. I was 11 years old the first time I saw behind the poster. They told me I imagined it. I've been trying to pull it down ever since. Will you help?
yeah, it's not often that I come across a game that I know absolutely nothing about, nobody who's in it, or anything like that. But this is one. I believe this is a shift.
Did I lose you there for a moment? You know what's on my mind. My baby brother, Dylan. 17 years since the men of this bureau took him.
Just gonna wreck things, that's alright. Approved terminology reminder. Shove the entire desk over? Yeah, okay, that's cool. Trench, do not disturb. Ah. Yeah, that's... before we go anywhere, let's see. Approved terminology. Drafting any public-facing material. While penning any notifications of death related to Willow AWE, please adhere to the following guidelines. Words, phrases to use in the service of his or her country, regret, proud, pride, will be remembered. Words or phrases to avoid: Alaska, scissors, blood, bleed, loss, apologies, sorry. Prohibited items, that we already did that one. R4 reports reminder. As you all know by now, the R4 reports are due by the end of the week. We're still waiting on them from a number of people. If you need an extension, please request form R4.E from your supervisor. If you think you're exempt from filing an R4, then you'll need to get written permission from your department chief saying so. Remember, R4s are mandatory under Section 75.2 of the Employee Manual. If your R4 requires interdepartmental claims, then please contact the appropriate department head, Mr. Darling, Miss Marshall, Mr. Salvador, or Mr. Kirkland as needed. They'll be busy on Thursday in their annual policy review, so please schedule accordingly. Best, your admin team. Security order. Oh, wow. Attention all. Redacted, redacted, redacted. A shark in his redacted, redacted. Although secure, redacted. Permission to, redacted. Following basic protocol, redacted. Shoot to kill, redacted. Good luck. Barbara, I am not to be disturbed. Cancel all my appointments for the day, the rest of the week. I can't trust them, Barbara. Not a single one. Trench. Welp. Here we go. I'm gonna guess there's a content warning for this. So.
Shit.
Yep. Cool.
You want me to pick it up? The murder weapon? Really? Something's outside. Was coming here a mistake?
Awesome. It's the only way to do this. Hooray.
And there goes the poster.
Objects of power can cause or be results of AWE's altered world events, intrusions upon the perceived reality. Now, the service weapon is, of course, a prime example of an OOP, a very powerful one. Ingrained in the Bureau's DNA, a key component in our prime candidate program. Come out of that Russian roulette a winner and you're it.
Look at this place. Where am I?
Okay. Yeah, okay. So you play Russian roulette with the service weapon of the director, and if you win, then you get to be the director? Oops, wrong button. Okay. Cool. Strike is easy enough.
The same gun. Okay, now I have a gun.
Oh man. It's been an awfully long time. That's the other thing is that I'm not playing with a keyboard and mouse, so... No, okay. Worth a shot. The ammunition is regenerative, so that's nice. Probably aim a bit higher and it would actually work. Come on. There we go. Center mass. Health elements. Okay.
Something's coming. This threat. An attack. Duty as director. Keep the Bureau safe.
Did you hear that? It's the dead man. Right after the pyramid spoke to me, and it was just noise, and I understood every word. And this gun's alive. You know what? I'm happy. Happy to be here.
Oh, this is not going
Things
to
have
go well.
quieted down outside. Is it safe to go?
Yeah. I'm sure it's safe. Yeah. Alright, there's something over here. I'm not going to be able to get there. That's cool. Hmm.
You can't let this happen. 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 You stopped it. You. Oh, thank you. That was horror.
Come on. Okay, that's good. Alright, case files. Service weapon, OOPK-1E. Nope, 1K. No unique procedures required. Object's form is variable. When bound, the object allows para-utilitarians to redacted. This object must only be bound by individuals seeking the role of, I'm guessing, director. The object will determine whether the director is acceptable. If rejected, the applicant is terminated. This process is dictated by the blank, although their criteria is unknown. The board. We saw that in the sequence. Background: the object was discovered inside the oldest house in the room that is now used as the director's office. Popular hypothesis: blank. Many forms throughout history. Mjolnir, Excalibur, Varanastra, all weapons that blank of their wielders. If objects of power are the convergence of forces based on this collective subconscious, this may be the original manifestation of that event. If this is the case, blank, DC Dr. Darling presentation 11.1. Trench photograph. James McCaffrey. Played Max Payne. Alright, so I know him. Didn't know him by name, I guess, but I know his work.
The hotline. Secure line of communication. Guidance. Reach the hotline.
The hotline, says the dead man. Okay.
Can't duck around stuff, can I? Took a lot more damage than I wanted to on that one.
Reminder, if you experience an unanticipated building shift, follow these simple steps. 1. Search the room for any altered items or objects of power. 2. Carry the altered item or object of power to the nearest safe room. 3. Wait for Bureau staff to find you and the object. If there are no altered items or objects of power in the vicinity, then reach your supervisor via the nearest intercom and await further instructions. Thank you for your attention.
A lot of good the shelter did here. Avoid modern technology. That's interesting. Let's see. Okay, anyway. Go through the door now. Go get ourselves good and creeped out before bedtime. Woo!
Hissing sound that tried to invade me earlier. The hiss. Burrowing into everything in this place. Is the hiss your enemy? Alright, it's our enemy. That babble's contagious. It burrows in like an infuriating melody that makes you hum it over and over.
Well, this is a kill box, and I'm being invited in. So I never want to stand on occasion, I guess. That's not good. Ouch. Alright, I didn't think I had much of a chance on that one. So. Got the gun. Gotta do melee, probably. And I don't think I had any other abilities that have been highlighted.
Hissing sound that tried to invade me earlier. The hiss.
Okay.
Burrowing into everything in this place. Is the hiss your enemy? Alright, it's our enemy. That babble's contagious. It burrows in like an infuriating melody that makes you hum it over and over.
Can't get through there. Okay. I don't suppose this is gonna work either. Hey. No. only a little creepy having her there. That's fine. No, okay. Yeah, that worked. I mean, it's interesting, I guess. It might not be my cup. We'll see how it goes. Controls are also a little bit not optimized for me, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, yep. We'll see if this helps any. I feel like I'm just getting jerked around a bit. Alright, this is a little better. It's also accelerating slightly.
Hissing sound that tried to invade me.
You don't know?
Hiss.
It's just kind of weird.
Burrowing into everything in this place. Is the hiss your enemy? Or it's our
So, like, the magic power sort of thing, she just kind of got. But I don't know if she, like, had it ahead of time or if she gained them. But she picked up the gun and it, like, made her play Russian roulette, or I guess it makes everybody play Russian roulette. And it sort of just, she fought against it in her head and she won. So, hooray. So, like, this is gonna be weird. I'm doing controller for this one. Allegedly, you can use mouse and keyboard on. This is on my Xbox, so allegedly you can use mouse and keyboard on Xbox games. So, like, you're feeding your input through your computer over to your Xbox, and then you're getting your video back. I mean, I guess that's what I'm doing anyway with the controller, but. Alright, so I'm missing something here. Seizing would be nice. Oh, shield. That would have helped, yeah.
hissing sound that tried to invade me earlier. The hiss. Burrowing into
I'm not
everything
getting
in
the
this
option
place.
to use it right now, so.
Is
It's
the
either-
hiss your enemy? Alright.
Gotta either do it
it's
in
our
combat
enemy.
or. Huh. Nuts. Where'd that third guy come from? There were only two there before. Not that I'm going to complain too much. Okay, nothing there. Where'd he go? Alright, so... Oh, that's where he went. Here's a Counter-Strike, man. Semi-blind shooting. Where did that guy come from? Okay, part of a table. That's fine. Okay. Hiss guard. Hiss was quick to take advantage of this fact with internal security. Hiss guards have standard issue bullpup rifles they carry prior to corruption, while the armored guards carried pump action shotguns. They have observed no paranatural abilities, with the exception that certain Hiss guards are protected by a shielding of dense Hiss resonance capable of stopping bullets. Awesome. Is this shielding a result of prolonged Hiss corruption? Does the Hiss mature in organic hosts over time? More data is needed. Does the Hiss target individuals with combat training? Does it have threat level of cognizance? Does it utilize hosts for the tasks they are best suited to? Combat trained hosts are reserved for combat. These are all questions for later, though it's obvious that corrupted individuals retain knowledge on the use of their weapons. Refer to file blank for a report. Urban legends are believed to affect the creation of altered materials, but can also dictate characteristics of an altered world event. Urban legends are understood as the modern evolution of Jung's archetypes. We recognize certain redacted, informed by our own redacted, and popularized by our media. We have additionally proven that urban legends can be artificially planted in pop culture using redacted, our anthology television program. Nice. Once the seeds are sown, human imagination exacerbates the details. Certain paranatural phenomena contain certain clear elements of popularized folklore, AWEs that occur only on a pair of scissors that consume human redacted through two punctures on the redacted. These details, living in the minds of so many, have been given strength through belief. Urban legends are not just stories for children, they are paranatural realities waiting to happen. Refer to file. Nope. Marshall checked out the suspected OWE in Duluth. It wasn't anything, just like the house fire before this, and the malfunctioning clothes dryer before that. My team is getting pretty sick of duds. We need to find a better way of sorting fake AWEs from the real things, or you need to rotate these field agents off for a bit. Anyway, we're en route to Sherman Ranch. Next one on the list. Hopefully it's a little livelier. Right. Welcome to the Federal Bureau of Control, established in 1964 as part of the effort to strengthen government relations. We are proud to serve the United States and our people as we strive for transparency and excellence in all aspects of our esteemed nation's infrastructure. If they do not leave, ask some questions. Are you here to see someone? Are you from New York or just visiting? How'd you find this place? If their answers are sufficiently harmless, explain that this is a secure federal office and they need to leave. If their answers seem redacted, escort them to a private room. There, perform the gunner's psychological assessment. If their responses are within acceptable range of deviance, then blank immediately. Remember, there's no such thing as being too suspicious. Dinner reservations, 7 p.m. Chez Ombre. Wife will meet you there. Don't be late. Flowers are ready at the lobby reception. Remember, she's turning 46. Oh, that's awful. Okay, so modifications. Energy boost. Equip. Low health boost. Probably need that. Unlock by upgrading, okay. Yeah, so Zechariah Trench decided that he was going to attempt to be the director, not just the CEO of this group or whatever, but like the director. And so he ended up, there were some weird images where he like held the gun to his own head and apparently was killed. She was just outside, and so when like the gun essentially drew her to it, and then she went to the astral plane, learned how to use it, and then came back, and weird stuff's happening. So, hooray. And the board is like, you know, board of directors or something, but it's like a voice from beyond, or many voices from beyond, and now she's the director. Still don't see how that guy got up here. Alright, cool, whatever. Just go die again, I guess. Okay. Okay, up there. That's awful, but might work. There's no way they're letting me out of here. All right. Cleanse the control
Cleanse
point.
the control
There we go.
point. What does that mean? Help me fix it.
Okay.
Holy shit. We did it.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Huh, okay.
Are you with us? With the Bureau?
So I cheesed it pretty bad, but
Are you still
it worked.
sane?
I can't tell you how happy I am to talk to somebody sane.
The feeling's mutual. Yeah, I'm Pope, Emily Pope, Dr. Darling's assistant.
My turn. Should I lie?
Jesse Faden. I'm just visiting.
I should have lied.
Oh, shit. You're the new director. Hold on. We're coming out. Director Faden.
Call me Jesse.
Okay, Jesse. I'm Emily. Look, somehow this hostile force, this...
Hiss?
that works? Somehow the Hiss managed to infiltrate the building without any warning.
And just like that, my name for it is official. The hiss. Like the sound of poison gas leaking in.
We're in full lockdown. It seems to have spread everywhere and to everyone not protected by an HRA. And, extraordinarily, you. You are the director, and that makes you special by definition. Trench is no longer the director, obviously. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. This whole situation is just a lot.
Trench is dead. Shot.
Ah,
I found his body. And the gun.
Do I tell her it looked like a suicide?
the service weapon.
Also, and this can sound crazy, but he keeps appearing to me, saying things. It's hard to make out, but he told me to cleanse the control point, push the hiss out. The whole room shifted around.
You did that? And you entered the building when it was already in the lockdown before you became the new director? How?
I'm not ready to tell her about you yet.
A janitor let me in.
I love it. This is fucking unbelievable. I can't even... Look, Jesse, I have a million questions, and you probably have a million more.
Like, do you know my brother Dylan? Not yet.
But there's something I need to ask you to do first. If you can cleanse a control point, then you can maybe cure those infected or possessed by the hiss. Because if that's possible, our options are very different.
Emily Pope. I don't know her, but I like her already. She's the opposite of the faceless agency I've blamed for what happened to me for so long. But I can't trust her yet. Or rather, the Bureau she's a part of.
Yes. I can try.
I'm speaking for you, of course. We can try it together. Okay. You with me? We did it before. Push the hiss out.
This cannot go well. Yeah.
It didn't work. The hiss burrowed too deep. Ripping it out rips them apart.
I can't cleanse them.
I saw. It was worth a shot. Thank you, Director. Jesse.
I'm gonna tell her why I'm here. I'll risk it.
Listen, the Bureau was involved in an incident in my hometown, Ordinary, 17 years ago. The Bureau came in and covered the whole thing up. I've been looking for this place for a long time.
That's enough. Maybe that's too much already. I can't tell her about Dylan and the rest yet.
I've seen mentions of an Altered World event case dealing with Ordinary. You were at Ground Zero as a child? It was one of the big ones, and before my time. And very classified. I can try to dig out some old files for you. My boss, Casper Darling, would know, but he's missing. I think he knew this was coming, or suspected. He came up with the HRAs, the Hadron Resonance Amplifiers. I think they're what saved us. Or a few of us. And Director Trench would know.
Trench, the ghost, or whatever he is, he mentioned something called the Hotline. Said I should find it.
It's another object of power, like the gun, an old Bakelite telephone, a direct line of communication between the director and the board. Maybe he can talk to you more clearly through that. I mean, Trench has years and years of experience. He might know how to destroy the hiss.
Where is the hotline?
It's kept in the communications department through the mailroom. It's part of this sector, so we can access it even with the lockdown in place. We'll get the door open for you.
Okay, that's my next stop.
That's Tomasi's department. He's the head of communications. I don't think he had an HRA. He kind of made a point about not wearing one earlier. Keep an eye out.
Too bad for him.
They call me the director. But that's not me. I'm not a director type. I'm not a leader. Why am I here? I think you already know. Yes, I came for my brother, but there are other reasons too. I said I was looking for answers, but I might never understand them. I'm not looking for proof. This is already it. More than enough. No matter what they told me all those years, I know it's real now. I didn't imagine this. I want to be a part of this world. What scares me shitless is that I finally found it. Only to see the hiss destroy it all.
I know this is all new to you, so don't hesitate to ask me anything you want to know. There are no stupid questions. The door to the comms department? The hotline should be in the communications department.
Where did the hiss come from?
I'm not sure. You said the hiss was here when you entered. Did you see anything like that outside before you came in?
No. No, just inside.
The source is internal then. See, the oldest house is a sprawling complex with openings to other places as well. I don't even know where to start looking. But in the context, it's good news. The lockdown holds. The hiss escaping the building would be the end. Pretty shitty world out there if you ask me, but I wouldn't want the hiss to destroy it.
With you on that, Emily.
You mentioned the oldest house. What is it?
This building, the Bureau headquarters, the oldest house, is a shifting place. You've seen it. It transcends its physical limits.
I've been to New York a few times. How didn't I notice this place?
It's an attribute of the building. This is a place of power. The oldest house doesn't like attention, so unless you're purposely trying to find it, you don't, which is perfect for us. The work we do here is essential, but unstable. The Bureau prefers not to be noticed. And we need strong walls to make sure nothing gets out.
So without you, I never would have found the front door.
Okay. This Trench guy. I keep hearing him in my head. Is he a ghost? Haunting me?
I doubt we're talking about a ghost in the traditional sense, but an echo maybe. See, if he was killed by the service weapon, your gun, maybe it's his final thoughts recorded by the bullet in his brain, like a deep space probe sending back data. But that's just a hypothesis on my part. I'd need the gun to research it. But you better hold on to that given the circumstances.
I think I will. Yeah. Can you tell me what an object of power is exactly? This is all, well, new to me.
Don't worry, I love going over the basics. So objects of power are mundane objects that house paranatural energies and have developed a link to the astral plane and can thus be controlled, which is what differentiates them from altered items, which are still housings of paranatural forces, but are more volatile and cannot be bound in the peri-utilitarian sense. Got it?
Did she memorize this?
Got it. Thanks. So HRA stop you from becoming Hiss?
It seems that way. I mean, I hadn't even heard of an HRA until a few weeks ago when Dr. Darling started handing them out. Well, I began analyzing mine as soon as I got it. I mean, each one seems to emit a powerful short-range frequency way beyond anything I've ever seen.
Doesn't the timing seem suspicious?
I thought that too. Dr. Darling usually likes to unveil his latest breakthrough in big presentations. With these, he just passed them out. Yeah, his behavior makes me wonder what exactly he knew.
Thanks, Emily. I'm sure I'll have more questions soon.
Just let me know.
Yeah, well. Old jukebox. Alright, so that's the way it came. Central Executive Board room. Probably need to go this way. Alright. We can also check this out. See if there's anything useful. Control points. Yeah, I'm going.
There it is again. Our welcome message.
far too cautious for my own good, which is somewhat unfortunate here. Alright, what do we have? Energy recovery speed, I like. Health recovery per element pickup, I like. Well, let's do health recovery because I seem to be not in super great shape with my reaction time. Alright, undefined reading. House memory. Hidden trend. Okay. Travel costs. Expenditures. Do wonder if a motel called the Ocean View is going to be found in a landlocked state, but hey, I'm not paid to think, right? For the record, I again request you give us the budget to get 2 rooms each night. Agent Rowley and myself are very tired of sleeping in the same room. Footnote, the boys in research said performing rituals may help identify places of power. Drinking those little whiskeys is my ritual. Control points are locations the bureaus have identified being vital junctions between the vital junctions of the oldest house. When the appropriate harmonization devices are arranged around a control point in the redacted arrangement, the surrounding area will not experience any unforeseen building shifts. That seems to be a lie. These control points are discovered by redacted detection of unobstructed ping using the redacted within a 37-foot radius. Numerous researchers have attempted to define control points, calling them nerve junctions or redacted or vulnerable spots to the oldest house. The common factor in these theories is that control points are susceptible to external influence, which allows us to stabilize the oldest house and work more confidently inside of it. Theoretically, this technology could be extrapolated to stabilize the oldest house as a whole, but testing has found that certain parts of the building refuse to be altered or whatever. Or not.
It's overpowering here. You don't want me anywhere near it. With you on that.
Alright, well. Guess I'm not going that way, and this is going to suck. Yep. Man. I'm so screwed. touch and go there for a bit. His barriers appear to as ways to impede or escape access. Impede escape or access by Bureau personnel. 2 methods have been discovered for lowering them. 1. Destroy multiple concentrated resonance sources around the vicinity. 2. Destroy the Hiss entities in the area. Resonance fields seem to require support for their size and density from other non-connected source of Hiss resonance. Without the ability to draw from these sources, the barrier will fall. Does an inactive structure made of Hiss resonance qualify as a conscious being? When does the distinction make any difference when considering the Hiss? What does the very act of building walls to prevent our movement tell us about the Hiss? To what degree is it watching and planning? Please be aware, due to recent fluctuations in the nearest control point, the area's stability has been downgraded to yellow. Low possibility of unanticipated building shift. Lockdown. Lockdown areas in red, I guess. Oh, that's fine. There's other places to actually look, so. No. There's a thing over on the other side. Up there. Oh, that's hardly fair. Ah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. bathroom, but sure. Okay, damage while low on health versus... This is not for this particular one. Shatter projectile boost. Projectile fire +2, so I'm guessing that's a shotgun. Alright, nothing there. Where am I? 10 letters. Up that away. Ugh. Do as you're told. Don't eat mold. Just in case we're tempted. Ooh. I don't like that. Oh, boo. Friggin' hate these guys. Alright. Let's work hard. His life is in your hands. 6% accuracy versus damage while low on health. So 6% accuracy is going to help me all the time. That's only going to help me when I'm low in health. Generally speaking, I try not to be. Greetings, Director Trench. I'd like to thank you for approving my request to Dead Letters Archive. Cataloging the Bureau's collection of delinquent mail will provide an extremely handy database that research terms can use to search for any connections on related topics found among the letters. Aside from these more functional purposes, the archive will allow us to preserve these windows into authentic human encounters with the paranormal world. These letters came to us from various places and times, gathered by the Postal Service as undeliverable. Bureau is the perfect home for them. I realize not all letters contain accounts of genuine paranatural events, but even the erroneous ones allow us insight into how the unknown is perceived by real people. Of course, I will first compile a system which will allow us to analyze the letters for any information or suspected connections to AWEs and all other altered materials. So thank you again. Can't wait to delve into my dead letters. P. Bartwell.
communications. We're on the right track.
Just look at it. 8 inches wide and capable of storing a whopping 80 kilobytes. Stolen by our friends at the CIA, the disk held the launch codes to Soviet nukes. This is not the disk, of course, but one exactly like it. A perfect fusion of concepts vibrating in the Cold War era collective unconscious.
Wow. I remember those discs.
Receptacle. It is a receptacle for dangerous energies to hone in on, and they did.
I might.
We don't have the details.
I don't really know
Things
enough about
started
tensor
flying
calc
around the
really
disk. It
to
was
stream.
transferred to us. It's an object of power.
Yeah, I keep trying to do.
OOP. Oops. Oh, and it can launch things
Jeez, that's
telekinetically
awful.
through the air. To date, we've launched maybe 3 dozen pencils. And once, we even launched a cup.
So yeah, it's possible. Like if I start learning about it much more, then I could. But most of the stuff that I tend to stream, I try to make it like stuff that I'm pretty solid on. So I don't really, at least for the moment, I'm not really comfortable with it. But maybe we'll get there. I also need to look at some of the stuff I've been doing and, in class, and start, like, showing off some of the different weird ways that I learned it, or that I have developed learning for it. See if anyone latches on, because there's some interesting things that I figured out, but I don't know if anybody cares, so. It's always the hard part. Apparently you can't attack the darkness, so it's too bad.
An object of power. Looks like the Hiss have latched onto it. We need to cleanse it.
Oh, good. Jerks. Crouch, right, yeah. Well, so like the person I work with covered my class doing function transformation, and I was like, okay, whatever, it's gonna be fine. And then she taught it the same way that I learned it, which was like, you know, we're gonna do some like plug a bunch of stuff in and then figure out how that works. And and like she's, if you remember that meme that was on online that was like, you know, how mathematicians dance, and it's like shows you all the individual functions. She was basically doing that and showing like, you know, you want to, you know, shift it one way, you do this, and then she's just kind of like doing a few steps to the one side and then a few steps to the right. And I'm like, you know, that's great and all for enthusiasm, but it doesn't actually show you, doesn't tell you much about like how to learn. Oh, that's gross. Okay. Nope. Ugh. How the hell am I supposed to do that? Reach the object power to cleanse it. Cool, but... Oh, good.
It's harder to hear you when I'm here. It's like the channel's been changed. The board's in charge here. They're pyramids in the Bureau seal. Are they really the ones pulling the strings? I'm not their director. I'm no one's director.
Okay. Oh, that's terrible. Yep, right there. Alright. Oh, man, that's a lot. Good news. Seems to be a just about unlimited supply of rubble. Yeah, I mean, I looked through the control scheme at the beginning,
There you
so
are.
like,
You were
you know, I
gone.
was trying to hit stuff
Cut
and it
off.
just didn't
I
show up.
got
So
it.
I'm like, okay, well,
Just like you wanted, right? This will help me fight the hiss.
okay, this punk's gonna have to die. Hmm. Oh, jeez. Jerks. That's a nice bludgeoning weapon. Mm. Ah. Yeah, this is gonna hurt him. There he is. I guess. Some of them do. I didn't realize you could also just grab, you know, concrete out of the ground. I thought it was limited to specific objects or. No, okay, maybe it is. Might have just targeted the ground too, as it turns out. Yeah, so like, I was a little confused at the beginning because I was trying to do like the pull stuff, and obviously it didn't work. But then she walked up to one of those things and like popped the top off, and then went like that, and the top flies off of it, and the item comes out. And I'm like, oh, good. Apparently, I have some telekinesis.
Emily said that the hotline can be reached through the mailroom. This must open the door.
Helpful. Oh man.
You're listening to America Overnight, mystifying the airwaves for more than 29 years. Thank you for staying up with us. Ghosts. We've had many callers over the years.
Yeah, I've already got clearance one, so.
Another phantasmagorical phenomenon. Today, friend of the show, Dr. Quincy Reagan tells his story. Quincy, thanks. This is something I experienced recently while staying at the Chili Pines Motel in Macon for last year's SuspicionCon. I was in room 47. The night manager, an avid listener of the program, insisted I take this particular room. Now, the manager explained that years back, the body of a man was discovered under the bed, inside that wooden border that motel beds tend to have. And the body had been there a week, he said. Guests had stayed there, sleeping with the corpse a foot below him. They only found the body when housekeepers complained about the smell. Hauntings have been reported in room 47 ever since. I
Yeah, I
happily
bet they
took
have.
the room. I fell asleep pretty quick, checking under the bed first, of course. No ghosts visited me, no chilly spots or flickering lights.
It's on Game Pass.
But when I woke up, I found myself under the bed,
So there was also a
stiflingly hot.
weekly,
Luckily, I was able to push the
who's
mattress
it,
off
weekly
and crawl
achievement
out
for it.
before I suffocated.
So it was just kind of
The
like,
night manager
sure, why
was
not?
kind enough to find
No, not really. I think maybe at some point I actually saw the first like 5 minutes of gameplay or something, but
Quincy
like
was
I don't
brave
think
enough
I
to tell his story.
I don't think I heard of it at all.
Call Ray whenever you
Aside from that,
encounter something strange.
games in general, like since
You're seeing colors.
Nintendo NES 1988.
Poster is possessed. Remember, dear listeners, when no one else believes you, we do. America Overnight.
Yeah, I've been doing first-person shooters since Counter-Strike Beta 7. So that's like it's been a good 25 years, give or take. And definitely mouse keyboard is my strength. That's not polite. Yeah, okay. I figured that was going to happen, but why not, right? We've got so many extra mod cache at this point. Every time you die, you lose a bit, but whatever. Hmm. No, okay. That's gonna be fun.
They can fly now. Great.
What? Well, that's bull. Okay. I also usually don't shoot from the hip, but
have a feeling he'll be back. Let's stay focused. The hotline should be past the mailroom.
Oh, now we're back here. Okay, cool. Nope. Okay.
The hotline can't be far now. Alberto Tomasi, head of comms. The hiss got him.
Alright, take this down. Situation in Cuba has been evaluated by the relevant authorities. The mysterious illness affecting the staff at the U.S. Embassy in Havana was caused by sonic weaponry in the hands of a foreign power. Numerous personnel have damage to the inner ear, but most are expected to make a full recovery. Of course, the event also damaged their cellular walls, but they met on some stupid noise gun. Thank God no local doctors examined them first. Honestly, what are the odds an alternate item would show up inside a U.S. embassy? Talk about good luck, huh? So much easier to... Hey, are you still recording this?
The Ocean View Motel and Casino. Dream Logic. The light switch cord. Door marked with the black pyramid.
Mind the gap. Lovely. What does it say?
Whoa. Have we been here before?
Okay.
No. I've stayed at a lot of roadside motels across the country, on the road, on the run, under the radar. This feels like all of them, like something recognized from a dream. Key has a black pyramid on it.
I just received a notification that I have started the stream. Ugh. Oh. Key. Black Pyramid. Can go back now. Alright. There we go. Ah. Mind the gap yet again. I mean, I threw something at it last time and nothing happened, so I was like, I don't know, do you walk into it? Just interact? No. There's a reason the cursor turned red, so I'll keep that in mind for next time. Again. Ugh. Okay, so that's not dying, that's just you get teleported back. So I think I just need to miss this. Get away from it. Ah, yes, get away from it. Huh. Alright, cool. Alright, so once I get out of their square, they don't care anymore.
It is a phone. It's an object of power. It doesn't connect to any typical network. A direct line to the astral plane and the board. And my hypothesis is, under the right conditions, to other planes of existence as well.
A director needs a team. My management team. These people know the secrets of the Bureau as well as I do. Some even better. Darling, Tomasi, Salvador, Marshall. Marshall especially, my head of operations. She sees right through me. She knows I don't like relying on people. The only person you should fail is yourself. But things change when you become director.
Oh, good.
I can reach Trench. Well, listen to him. He feels more like an echo. Important info. I need to get back to Emily. People react strongly when I tell them about you. Is it too soon to tell Emily? She might be able to help.
Oh, good. That's nice. Be interesting if they, like, had them come back. All the enemies come back now. Just run through the same area. Now you're much more powerful. Okay, anything new? Nope. And nope. Yeah, I must have seen somebody play the initial, like this initial corridor here in maybe beta. And I was like, oh, this kind of looks cool. And then just never really did anything after it. I'm also really awkward with, you can probably tell, I'm really awkward with the controller. But yeah, that first battle with the pyramid was pretty rough.
Jesse, did you get the hotline? I mean, how is it out there? The comms, the hiss?
I got the hotline. I can make out what George is saying now.
I think this is going to be the last conversation, though, before I go to bed.
What did he say?
He talked about his management team. People who know the Bureau's secrets. Your boss, Darling. Tomasi, but he's gone. He's gone. Salvador?
He's the head of security.
And Marshall?
Helen Marshall is head of operations. She's tough, ex-CIA. She took her rangers and went to the research sector to secure the HRA production. She hasn't come back.
Someone who could help us. The other sectors. How do I get there?
It's impossible because of the internal lockdown. You can perform a directorial override to lift it, but that can only be done in the maintenance sector. Normally, you take the sector elevator down there. It connects all the sectors, but it won't work while the lockdown is in effect.
We already got past one lockdown.
Maybe I can find a way.
Jesse, look, with no prep, no training, in this extreme situation, you are doing phenomenally well. And all that and the hiss can't seem to affect you. I mean, I would love to run some tests on you. If you agree, that is. We could find out something that would help us.
Tests? I don't know. She might find out about you. But I wouldn't mind understanding more myself.
Okay. If you think it will help.
Great. I'll check the internal documentation for any lockdown bypasses. We need to get these sectors open to locate Darling and Marshall.
And I'll look for a way inside the maintenance sector. The sooner we find one, the sooner I reach this override.
He's the key to everything. Somehow it wouldn't surprise me, but...
Hi, Jesse.
No, I already did all that. Okay.
Thanks, Emily. I'm sure I'll have more questions soon.
Just let me know.
So we got accuracy, shatter recoil, for shatter gun, right. Alright, so definitely we can get rid of one of these because we already got two. Energy recovery speed could help, but generally speaking, I like picking up extra health more. Alright. Demolition expert. Woohoo. Elevated agents, yep. Ranger. Initial impressions. Initial encounters with the enemy known as the Hiss have revealed various behavioral facts. Most notably, the Hiss is able to invade or corrupt control points, altered items, even humans, radically changing their behavior. Curiously, any human wearing one of the wearable HRA devices that Dr. Darling has been distributing over the past few weeks has not been affected. The only known exception to this was the new director, Jesse Faden, who possesses an inherent immunity to the Hiss. This could indicate she has already been corrupted, but her behavior is so in contrast to that to the other Hiss, I have dismissed the theory. My final observation comes from Miss Faden herself. She is able to, Emily Pope, okay. She's able to cleanse material and organisms of the Hiss corruption. We tested this ability on a Hiss corrupted entity, but unfortunately the process seems to kill the host. Perhaps the host's physiology becomes reliant on the Hiss. More work to be done. Case files on hotline. Rotary dial has been replaced with a black knob of unknown purpose. The phone weighs redacted. So it's either next to nothing or like a ton. Director, communicate with the board. If anyone used by anyone other than the director, the object will cause lethal. Nice. Object spontaneously manifested in the director's office, placed on the desk. Battery of tests run on the object, including blank and blank, but its origin remains unknown. Spate of disappearances was traced to the home of in Butte, where Bureau agents discovered a translocative light switch cord. Oh yeah. Bureau agents arrived at the home of a local celebrity located at, which had been connected to a local total of number of disappearances in the area. Agents found no one inside. While searching a closet, the agent pulled the light switch cord and disappeared from view. Another agent was selected to pull the cord in order to replicate the event and disappeared as well. Both agents were discovered at the oldest house some number of days later, found in a sealed room by rangers exploring the new area of the house. Light switch cord in the Butte home's closet disappeared during the incident. According to their testimony, agents had been transported from the Butte home to a roadside motel named the Ocean View Motel and Casino, and discovered a room key by performing a ritual. Opened the door of the inverted black pyramid. They only learned after a lengthy period of trial and error. After pulling another motel cord inside this room, they were transported to the oldest house. The disappearances of the home's owner and other locals in Butte have been attributed to pulling the light switch cord. The Ocean View Motel is known to have many doors and pathways. Since the occurrence, identical light switch cords to the one found in the Butte home have begun appearing throughout the oldest house. At the time of writing, blank light cords have been found in the oldest house located in blank and blank sectors. All these all access the Ocean View Motel, though how this link operates is, well, unknown, I'm sure. But initial hypotheses center around the Butte AWE as a probably catalyst. Pay attention, Alberto. This is the last time I'm explaining this. Internal lockdowns are manually triggered events that lock one or all sectors by restricting use of the sector elevator, effectively locking staff in their sector until the emergency is handled. They can only be lifted by a directorial override in maintenance once the director is satisfied that the situation is under control. External lockdowns are a bigger deal, nothing in or out of the whole building. Only triggered by code red containment breach based on some complicated system that security and research slap together. Can only be lifted once A, the threat has been neutralized, and B, the high clearance individual gives the system all clear. The process is not the same as directorial override, so stop saying so in documentation. I know it's confusing as hell. I've told Darling 100 times to change it, but they're adamant it stays the way it is. Honestly, I don't think they even know how to change it at this point. Let's just make sure our staff understands this mess. To executive staff, I know there's some concern regarding our operations exceeding annual budget. As long as we operate within the oldest house, we are obscured from scrutiny in many respects. If our budget demands are not exorbitant to the point of drawing attention, they will just be granted by U.S. Treasury without question. The FBC is just another line in another spreadsheet that some lowly accountant won't even notice. Their eyes will skip over us as if we aren't even there. The nature of the oldest house allows us certain freedoms in how we operate. Our being here is no accident. Book Club, Samson. So I don't usually read a lot of sci-fi, but as far as space operas go, this was alright. Notes for Penny or just Penny? Anyway, the best part of the story was the space battles. I sided with the Fixers, obviously, because they had the coolest tech and their motives seemed to make the most sense to me. Honestly, if I had to choose between some hoity-toity flowers in guns, space hippies, or badass bunch of warriors who go around devouring planets like cheap sushi on Sunday, I know who I'm picking. That scene where they invade City Planet and convert the entire population using those brain worms, that space dog fight between those two ace pilots, sign me the fuck up. What kind of ruined the whole thing for me was my favorite character got killed not even halfway through the story by getting a battery cylinder launched into his face by a gravitational anomaly. His death didn't even feel necessary. To whom whom it may concern, I'm being contacted by past presidents of the United States of America. They appear as spirit guides, giving me their wisdom. John Adams keeps saying I need to fix America, but I really can't understand him. They all have a lot of opinions. People tell me I'm imagining it, but Theodore Roosevelt showed me how to fix my lawnmower, and I don't know a thing about lawnmowers. Explain that. I have great dead men telling me about the past and present. If you'd like to use these abilities to help run the government, please let me know. I know White House could use me. I had a dream, and I built the thing I saw in my dream. A machine that will contain God, but not the God you know or the ones anyone knows. A new God. This machine will be his body, heart, and mind. I made it just like the dream showed me. I used motor from a refrigerator and the coils from my toaster and the fans, plus the timing belt for my car's engine and the wheels for my son's skateboard. God can't move yet, but the dream said he would learn how on his own. This is just a beginner's body, like a baby's, but a machine instead. God only needs a place to start. If you want to interview me, please contact me at the address in the envelope. My phone does not work anymore. I had to use the dialing plate on God. Wow. Cool. Alright, so... No, okay. Is there anything else I can do there? No, not really. Alright, cool. So, I'm gonna head out because it's almost 2 in the morning, and why not, right? So, Soul Reaver, thanks for stopping by, and thank you to everybody else who did as well. Lemon Juice's 12, Rubber Slayer, and let's see, what else do we have back here? Yeah, Berrytron. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for hanging out for a bit. And hope you all have a good weekend. I'm going to be coming back on Wednesday, probably looking at some... Well, might do that function transformation thing or the trying to find inverses of functions. So, you know, I'm going to probably be doing a lot of pre-calc because that's what I'm teaching during the day, so it just kind of naturally slips into it. And yeah, I'll take a look at the books, see what we got. So thank you. Like I said, probably some pre-calc stuff, just to show you a slightly different method, a more maybe formal version of it. It's not going to be like rigorous formal, just kind of like, you know, whatever thing I figured out, so it makes it a little bit more obvious as to why we're doing all these things. So, at any rate, see y'all later.